Welcome, everyone. Welcome again to the Business Freedom Formula. I'm your host, John Arntz, and I'm proud to have as my guest tonight, Greg Sotkovsky. Greg, how are you doing tonight?
Pretty good, John. How about yourself?
Great. Say, listen, to get started, what new and exciting is going on in your business right now? What are you doing that's new and exciting?
New and exciting. I just created a drink for the cancer industry, and that has me over the moon right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
I ended up, I was a 9/11 responder to the World Trade Center, and I ended up developing lung cancer. And I had a bilobectomy where they took my mid and lower lobe, my right lung out. And during that whole battle, I realized that there wasn't anything for bionutrients other than like the commercial stuff that has it's loaded with crap.
Mhm.
And I thought long and hard, and I was like, I want to create something for the industry because I'm in the 9/11 community, so there's so many people going through chemo and going through all kinds of treatments, and there's
Certainly.
nothing of any kind of nutrient dense products out there
Okay.
that'll actually sustain the body while you're going through. Well, and honestly, you can go through anything.
Hmm.
And this stuff is just packed with minerals and all kinds of nutrients that the body needs while the body is fighting disease.
Hmm. So these are all natural products.
Yeah, it's all formula based off of mushrooms and super greens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
Okay.
the human body is more mushroom than it is animal and vegetable.
Hmm. Interesting. I've never heard that. I've never heard that said. More mushroom. What does that
Yeah,
mean?
it so kind of getting a little deep now. Um,
Well, just skim it.
mushrooms create or correct the behavior of the human body. It's a
Okay.
it's a it's a very intelligent product.
Okay.
It's constantly reformulating the human body as it's going through.
Interesting. Interesting.
And it took me 4 years to develop it.
Well, great. Great. Well, I hope that this is something you're going to try and to market now as a
It's going to take me a little bit. It's going to take me a little bit longer because I'm getting into the nutrient side and filling
okay.
out all the information is about like what the ingredients can do for the body. And of course, I mean, this is nothing, not any kind of substitute. I'm not saying that this is going to cure cancer. None of that stuff. None of those statements.
Hmm.
This is just going to help the body fight while you're going through whatever it is that you're going through, whatever kind of exposure to the cancer industry, whatever kind of treatments. This is going
Hmm.
to help sustain your body with nutrients, vitamins, and minerals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's really more for your physiology in terms of vitamins, minerals, other kinds of things that your body really needs to run it as efficiently as it can then. And it's not really this isn't going to take that nauseated. Well, let me ask, would it take the nauseated feeling away that people, I understand, get when they go through chemo?
I think from what I understand and what I've used on myself, because I've used this on myself, um, it'll help give you an appetite.
Okay,
It'll help flood the body with nutrients that you need while the body is fighting to stay
I
alive.
see.
Yeah.
I see. Wow, that's very, very interesting.
Because I'm still alive. I should have been
Yeah.
dead a long time ago. So I keep evolving for myself. And
Hmm.
all the stuff that I talk about, like right now, I'm doing a clove detox, clove water.
Okay.
And what that does to the body is it literally flushes it out and gets rid of parasites and stuff like that we all have.
Hmm.
And I do all of this stuff on myself before I even talk about it because I want to see what the result is.
Yeah, because I have never heard of a clove water cleanse. I mean, that's very interesting. I'll have to look into that a little bit, find out what
Yeah.
that's about.
I love like I had type 2 diabetes, so I started using sorrel, hibiscus flower and water to flush my body out. And I love talking about this stuff. I was in the CBD industry for a while. I was in the manufacturing part for a while, and I know that these products are needed in this world right now
Mm-hmm.
because there's so much stuff. I mean, you go into a hospital because I was in a hospital for so many times. And I kept walking by like the soda machine or the
Mm-hmm.
chip machine, the
Right.
vending machines that had all the crap in it, and I'm like, this is a
Yeah.
hospital. It doesn't make any sense,
No, it
you know.
doesn't. It
And I'd
makes
be
no sense at all.
recovering. Yeah, I'd be recovering in the recovery room, and they're like, here's a Sprite. I'm
Yeah.
like, it says on my chart that I'm a type 2 diabetic. You're going to give
Right.
me 35 grams of sugar. This makes no sense at all. Or the obese dietitian. I was like, come on, this is
Come on.
ridiculous, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's kind of like, back when I was younger, I used to have people, when the whole anti-smoking thing first started coming around in the early 60s, and I mean mid to late 60s, and people would say, my doctor tells me to quit smoking while he's sitting there smoking in his office. It's like, you need to get exercise and lose some weight while you're looking at a guy who's 50 pounds overweight. Like, come on. You
And he's
have
smoking like a
to,
chimney.
right. You have to walk the walk if you want to get people to follow. I mean, you just can't do that. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
fun.
I'm in this phase of my life now where I want to correct all my behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
mentally, physically, emotionally. So in this way, I am my product.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe that's very important.
Sure.
Not to be a hypocrite, because I was a hypocrite for such a long time. I'd give great advice, but I wouldn't take it myself.
Sure.
Yeah.
I I get that. It's kind of like I'm struggling with that a little bit myself, about having people, working with customers and creating systems to get stuff done.
Hmm.
And yet I don't really have any in my own business because I haven't taken the time to do them yet.
Sure.
So that sounds kind of hypocritical. Um, I understand that.
Human behavior. We're
Yeah.
all kind of hypocrites, right?
Yeah. 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 Do as I
We
say,
just got
not
to
as I
shut it
do.
down. Yeah, we just
Yeah.
have to shut it down and be. And honestly, it's one of those things where it's like you have to be a better version of yourself,
Yeah.
and that's gonna pick up more people.
Sure.
When people see that confidence, when people see or hear about the resilience of the things that you've been through in this world, you've
Hmm.
actually walked the walk. Now you can talk
Hmm.
the talk.
Yeah. It's funny, in my own life, I've never had any real traumas, of things, not anything like what you experienced. Um, I was I turned 18 the last year of the draft during the Vietnam War, so I never got drafted, never got involved in any of that. Um, However, I've done some things that I think are interesting, in the fact that, like, I was a Boy Scout and did a lot of backpacking in the Sierra Nevada mountains here in California. And I've climbed a number of 14,000-foot peaks, including Mount Rainier, which looks like it may decide it's going to wake up as a volcano again here, or at least scare some people into thinking it's going to. So while I've not, and I was a competitive swimmer and water polo player, and so while I haven't had the life traumas, I've pushed myself in many other ways.
But those are life traumas.
Right. Worked full time, married with kids, working on my bachelor's degree, never having any time. So, those are other stressors that people don't, and you don't, people would say, well, it doesn't compare to, like, what you experienced there at the World Trade Center site.
But mentally, for you, it has.
But yes, and that's what
Yeah.
people don't understand, is mentally, it's the mental stress. And that's what happens. Some people can be in a situation like that and it's water off a duck's back. And other people can be crippled by the same experience. And it's here.
I've everything is mindset.
Yeah.
Everything is thinking, and we have to overcome that.
Sure. Sure. So tell me about your book. Everyone Pays a Vig. That's very interesting. I like the title of that.
Thanks. Everybody pays a vig is it's Second title is One Man's Entrepreneurial Journey. And I talk about my life experiences. I
Hmm.
talk about molestation when I was a child, drug addiction in my teens, bankruptcy, divorce. I talk about no, I actually don't talk about that. I'm sorry. I'm in the process of writing another book, so
Okay.
I have to like think about what I'm saying right now because it might not be in that book,
Might
but it's
yeah,
going to be in
but
this
it's
one,
going to be in
right?
that one. Yeah.
Which
So buy both.
which is a great example because our mind doesn't know the difference between fantasy, reality, doesn't have
Right.
a time frame, right? So as I'm recalling, okay, which book is it? Is it that stuff that lines my floor right now with the 1,000 pages that I'm
Right.
going through, or is it this thing that's been
Yeah.
out for 7 years,
Right.
right? So it's like this is why we have to get out of our thinking. This is why we have to be resilient in the way we think for ourselves. We have to
Hmm.
be a better version of ourselves every day. And I like to express that everybody has a book within them.
Okay.
Everybody should be journaling. Everybody should have just a different way of thinking for themselves because that we were just talking about. You're like, oh, my traumas haven't been like yours. Yes, they
Hmm.
have. They're the
Hmm.
same traumas because they're your traumas.
Sure.
And this is one of the things. Like I'm an entrepreneur. I used to teach entrepreneurship, just mindset about entrepreneurship, and I express it like this: if you need $1 million and I need $1,000, okay, but you
Hmm.
only have 900,000 and I only have 900, we both
Hmm.
share the emotion of being screwed.
Right.
So this has given
Yeah.
me the opportunity to be able to communicate with everybody on planet Earth
Right. There you go.
because we all have the same software and
Hmm.
how we think through the reticular activating system is everybody has potential. Whether
Sure.
you believe you can't or you can,
Hmm.
your reticular activating system
Sure.
wants to help you, right?
Sure.
So we have to think different for ourselves.
Hmm.
And I've covered a bunch of stories in this book, and I wrote the book where every chapter is actually can be another book.
Sure. I bet.
So I go from early childhood, I go through my real estate experiences, I go through failed events that were in my life,
Hmm.
and I encourage people to just pay the vig to themselves. The house always wins in gambling
Sure.
terms, so you
Sure.
have to
Yeah.
become the house.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, that's a great analogy. I like that.
Thank
You
you.
have to become the house.
Yeah, house always wins.
Yeah. Which reminds me of a quote from do you remember the movie War Games?
Oh, that's old, man. That's like
Right.
from the 80s, right?
Right.
80s or 90s,
Right.
early 90s.
And right at the end, when he's playing tic-tac-toe with the computer says the only way to win is to not play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep the drama out of your life.
There you
We call
go.
it the stinking thinking. My buddy
Yeah.
Keurig Ashley calls it the drama glue because it'll stick to you.
The
Because I
drama
mean
glue.
everything that we did, yeah,
Yeah.
it's the
That
drama glue.
that's
It'll stick
that's a
to you.
wonderful expression, the drama
Yeah.
glue.
He's a great guy. He's a great
That
guy. Because
I could
because
see
it's
that as
true.
that would be a great name for a podcast, the drama glue.
Yeah. Actually would be.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's pretty interesting. So how long did it take you? How long did you actually work on writing that book? I mean, I realize it's a lifetime
That
of
one
experience, but
that one was probably like 20 years, man. That one went from stuff from like thoughts on napkins,
sure.
right, to things like when we were editing it. My editor, she was like, we have to trim this back because nobody's going to believe this stuff. And I believe that like it goes through from when I was a little kid. It
Hmm.
goes through, like I've been taking notes and journaling pretty much my whole life. However, it's always been like sporadic. I get
Okay.
into it for a couple months and then I'll just
Right.
leave it for a couple of years.
Sure.
Right. And I
Yes.
have notebooks and pages of papers. Like I have thousands of pages
Yes.
and just figuring out like the right stories, like the
Hmm.
prompts.
Mm-hmm.
I
Like the
encourage
prompts. Yeah.
everybody write the prompts, right? So
Right.
in my place here, I mean, I have 2x3 cards all over the walls. I have 2 foot by 3 foot white papers, and I'll walk by and just start writing on stuff,
Sure.
multiple things at the
Mhm.
same time. I'll have a thought and be like, "Oh, it's on that page over
Right.
there. Let me just write on that."
Sure.
Right?
Because
And
when they come to you, and I think everybody has had this happen, I've had a thought come to me like when I'm doing something and I go, wow, I need to remember that. And then
never
5 minutes
happens.
later, it's gone and you can't bring it back.
Yeah,
Um,
because
I
our
did.
brain likes to lie to ourselves.
Uh,
Our mindset likes to lie. I think it was Joe Dispenza that said humans have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts the day before. So we're literally living in the past. However, 50% of the stuff that we recall isn't even true. It's our mind making things up
mhm.
because our reticular activating system wants to please us. So it'll
Sure.
just throw fillers.
Mm. Yeah. It's like I'll have conversations with my wife and she will explain something about something what happened and I went and in my mind I'm going, no, that's not how it happened from my perspective. But we were both there. There
Yes.
was there was something I heard somebody done a study on memories. And one of the interesting ones, there were these two sisters, okay, and they recalled when they were like 9 years old, they were on a bike and one of them fell off and scraped her knee. Was very upset, crying, all of this. Both both of these young women now believed it was them that scraped their knee,
Oh yeah.
but only one of them did.
Yeah.
But whatever went on there in their mind, they're the one that got hurt when they didn't.
Yeah.
And that's amazing to me that people can,
Our recall is amazing.
yeah.
Our mind is like, so what I try to explain to people, I do explain because I don't like using the word try. I'm eliminating that word
Mm-hmm.
because life isn't a buffet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, when we have recalls based off our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have emotional attachments to stories, our
Right.
recalls are going to be different. Like if you
Sure.
talk to me about like the worst stuff that's ever happened to me, I could have a recall right now and just freely talk about it because I don't have any emotional attachment to the last 60 years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been able to train my body and control the biochemistry set within me. And I don't longer live on cortisol and adrenaline. I live on,
Right. Right.
oxytocin now. Now I'm in the feel good mood.
Mm-hmm.
However, that being said, when I do have recalls, like um, I had the opportunity a couple days ago of decorating the room for severely handicapped children. And it brought me back to a time many, many years ago where I did the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got back, my recall made me cry. I was crying like a little baby in,
Oh,
in, in
sure.
the
I bet.
shower. And
Yeah.
and what I realized now more than anything is if we have to let our emotions out, because if you hold them in, okay, it's going to create anxiety, depression. It's going to create things that aren't conducive to you being a better human. So show your emotions, be vulnerable.
Sure.
And I looked at, and I'm going through things down here because I came to Mexico to get my health better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just because it's a lot cheaper and it's a lot more efficient than in the United States. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of medical tourism now coming to Mexico.
Sure.
So I'm able to alchemize the stuff that I'm going through. I've had 30 surgeries and procedures since 2017. And I'm going to have a couple more. And my recalls have to be on point for
Mm-hmm.
me, as I'm talking on
Yeah.
podcasts, as I'm communicating with my clients and the
Mm-hmm.
world. My recalls have to be sharp. So I have to sit in those disturbing stories and
Sure.
continue to alchemize. And it's an ongoing conversation within us. Changing the way
Yeah.
we think the
Mhm.
rent is due every day. So we have to do the work. I believe it's one of those things where like most people would rather just feel comfortable,
Yeah.
right? No,
Yeah.
to change your life, you get radically uncomfortable being
Sure.
uncomfortable. And that's why your recalls can be different. Once
Mm-hmm.
we start sitting in those stories, once we alchemize, like sitting and yeah, okay, I did bad things in my life. I've also done great things in my life.
Sure.
Most of us like to recall the bad things because they think
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows our story, which
Mm-hmm.
they don't. This is all stuff that we make up in our head.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So what's the second book going to be about?
It's called The Shaman from Jersey. And it's how I
Okay.
alchemized. It's how I alchemized all the things that I was going through. It's a continuation from Everybody Pays a Vig,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just a different. It's just a different version because
Okay.
I've gotten over PTSD and stress, and I've used psychedelics, and people are starting to realize now that instead of taking Tylenol, some people will take mushrooms. And
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because Silicon Valley has been using mushrooms to correct their behavior and correct challenges in their lives for
Mm-hmm.
decades.
Sure.
And they just don't talk about it.
No, they don't.
No, no, but they do.
No.
They use it as getting over obstacles. And science is starting to see now
Mm-hmm.
that our neurotransmitters start to react differently for PTSD. So they're experimenting right now and doing trials with veterans.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Because I have met a few Iraq War veterans that are really damaged. They're trying to get through life, but they are very, and you can, while they don't talk about things, you can hear it in the way they talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neurological linguistic
Right.
programming, the words
And
and phrases that they're using.
right. And they're never really, you watch the way they move in that, they're never really comfortable. They're never really sitting and relaxed.
No, because they're hyper vigilant,
Right.
because they lost connection to themselves.
Sure.
You know, I've helped vets in the past, and you know all of this stuff that I do, it's all about recalls,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you know, the recall, like I remember crying like a baby when I remembered that I was standing on top of the World Trade Center after it had collapsed. I just one day I was just thinking about it, and it just blew my mind, and I was flooded with
Sure.
all of these emotions. And then the next month and a half, I was in a really crappy mood just based off of that recall.
Oh, sure. I bet.
You know, however, now my recall is something different because I
Mm-hmm.
help people all around the world because I'm correcting my behavior every day.
Sure.
You know, and
Sure.
if you listen to somebody and you're like, oh, you know, I have it all figured out, they're pathological liars because, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this is stuff. This is an ongoing conversation within yourself all the time. Like I said before, the rent is always due. So you have to continue your journey. You have to continue the quest that you're on to correct your behavior. And it's an everyday experience.
Yeah. And I've always felt that, you know, we as human beings, we need to continue to learn. You don't just graduate from high school, get a job, and then forget to learn anything. Or you go to college and you forget to learn anything. Um, I know not everybody's an avid reader. I'm an avid reader. I like to read about different things, but you need to grow, I think, as a person, because you don't want everything that you know about life to be what you learned in, you know, Mrs. Smith's history class when you were in 12th grade in, you know, 1985. That's the sum total of what you remember about life. I mean, there's so much more to it. And I think that's part of growing too as a human being, to taking responsibility for yourself and growing as an individual. And I remember I remember I was taking an economics class and at the time AT&T, the employees were going on strike, and one of my classmates worked at AT&T, and we were all standing around outside the classroom waiting to go in, and he was commenting. He's talking about the strike, and we were about halfway through the quarter on our economics class, and he looks at us and he goes, and he's talking and he's bringing in things from the econ class, and he goes, you know, a little bit of education is really dangerous, because he
You
started
just
looking at the economics of the strike and what was going on in a completely different light than as the rank and file employee and This is my paycheck. And I think that's the important thing. I have a bachelor's degree and an MBA. And I'll tell you what, accounting and economics have changed my view so much
Yeah,
more.
because you know the numbers,
Right.
the real numbers.
More so than the my majors. The core parts of my majors is the basic stuff of numbers and how the economy works that is so important. And if you don't take the time to even hell, take a Udemy class, go out to, who was that? Con something where you can learn new math stuff, train your brain, learn,
Khan
stimulate.
Academy.
Khan
Khan
Academy,
Academy.
that's it.
Well,
Yeah.
you can go on YouTube.
Yeah,
I mean, it's very important for people to learn something new every day.
sure.
I think there was a thing about discipline. If you're disciplined 15 minutes a day for 365 days, I want to say the number is you're in the top 10% of whatever that discipline is.
Yeah. Wow.
15 minutes a day, you're an expert.
Yeah. And something I read years ago, the top 10% of people in their field are never out of work, no matter what the economy looks like,
Sure, I can see
because
that.
they're at the top. So fight and crawl your way into that 10% because you'll be.
Yeah, you got to tap in. You have to tap into it, man.
Sure.
I'll tell you a quick story, right? So
Okay.
a few years ago, I was wanting to just get a job and come home.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to go to work and come home. I was in that mindset. I was doing certain things mentally that I was training myself for, and I was like, I just want to go to work and come home. I don't want to be an entrepreneur for a little bit.
Okay.
I filled out so many applications that they rejected every one of them.
Oh,
Right?
no.
Yeah. No, they rejected every one of them. You know what everyone said? Every application I had sent in or I talked to, they were like, there's no way that we're going to hire you because your resume is ridiculous. You're going to come in here and you're going to do all kinds of crazy things. We're going to put time and energy into it. And then as soon as you get bored, you're going to leave. And we've just wasted all our energy on you. And I was like, you know what, man? Yeah. I grew up running franchises. I've been international importer and exporter, and I look at problem solving everything,
Sure.
and they were just like, no, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. It's
It's not
it's
going to
like
happen.
I spent 16 years doing tech support and software, and I'm really good at problem solving, looking at something and all right, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this, and we get to the end of it. Or this isn't working, so where are the weak links? And it's funny how that translates into other jobs I've done where somebody says, well, this isn't working. I say, well, okay, let's look at it. And what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And people look at that and go, how do you do that? Well, it's really not, for me, it's not that hard.
It's your system.
But yet, yeah, it's my system. But yet I can't conjugate a verb to save my life. And other people could do that in a heartbeat. So,
But that's
we
their
all have
system.
our strengths, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like my strength, my superpower. I grew up Sicilian in a Sicilian household, even though my last name is Slovak.
Mm-hmm.
It was my mom's side of her family,
Okay.
and we were taught learn body language,
Mm-hmm.
learn the idiosyncrasies of humans.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like I forgot the number, but it's high. It's like in the 90s or 80s where it's like most of everything we communicate with is body language.
Sure.
So I'm really good when somebody's in crisis to give them a disruptor based
Mm-hmm.
off of what they're not telling me, based off of their body language.
Okay.
And I think once people start to really understand human nature, human behavior,
Mm-hmm.
you can conduct business better. You could be a better employee for people.
Mm-hmm.
You can be a better advisor to people. Just paying attention.
Sure.
I've become a great observer instead of like I used to show my emotional insecurities because I wanted to be the loudest guy in the room. I
Sure.
wanted to
Okay.
force my opinions on people because I was insecure,
Mm-hmm.
not dealing with molestation. I used to speak at convention centers and walk off stage getting all kinds of accolades. And I used to think I was a person that was less than just because I didn't deal with my emotions
Mm-hmm.
of whatever traumas I had.
Sure.
And that's everywhere now. So it's our cultural behavior.
Yeah.
People just don't want to tap into their dark side. And the only way you're going to see that light is tapping into the dark,
You got type into
sitting in
yep.
it.
Yeah.
Like we were talking before, time in our temple, this is the only real estate we could own.
Sure.
And
You're right
people would
about
rather
that.
just watch TV.
Yeah. It's easier. You
Sure,
don't have to
because they want to
think.
be comfortably numb.
Yes. Which reminds me of a song.
Oh, the irony of that.
Yeah. And the funny thing is as I've gotten older, it's and see if you agree with this. It seems like when certain situation comes up, it reminds you of a song lyric.
Always.
Always, right? And I
Yeah.
recall one time being behind a couple about my age, and I think we were in Walmart, and somebody said something, and I said, "Well, that reminds me of being, um, oh, I forget what the two expressions were. One was dazed and confused, and the other one
Led
was
Zeppelin.
something else." And there was this like 19, 20-year-old at the cash register. I looked at her and I said, "Well, that's Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin." She goes, "Oh, I've heard of them." I'm like, "Oh God."
I've heard of them.
Heard of them, yes. Yeah, probably because you've probably seen the record albums at your grandparents' house, right? So yeah, and it's funny how we can relate to that, and it brings back part of our youth, which is what it always does for me. It reminds me of those what I consider carefree days of when I was a teenager and really didn't have to worry about anything as to whether or not the girl I was going to ask out was going to say yes or no. You know,
Different times, my friend.
yes,
Different
different
times.
times, yeah. And at least if she said no, you hoped she didn't humiliate you. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just ask her sister. That was the
Oh,
80s
oh,
for me.
yeah. Well, Greg, this has been great. I've appreciated your time tonight, sir. Thank you so much. And
Thank you. I
I
appreciate it.
really want folks, excuse me, I really want you to succeed, not only with your second book, but with this drink you've put together. I think that this is going to be something that is going to be really beneficial. Not just to probably cancer survivors, but anybody who has
Anybody going through any kind of disease,
yeah.
anything that the body is going through, it's just
Mhm.
all it's going to do is flood the body with nutrients,
Sure.
vitamins, and minerals
Yeah.
that we don't get anymore.
Right. Good stuff that's
Yeah.
not going to hurt you anyway.
No,
Yeah.
no, it really won't.
Yeah.
Really won't. And it actually tastes delicious,
Okay.
which is
Which is
something
always good.
that
Yeah.
was, yeah, it's always good. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember times growing up saying, this tastes so bad, the cure is worse than the disease.
Yeah.
All right, Greg. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate your time and the best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.